Hello, everybody. Today I've got the beautiful, beautiful opportunity to speak with CJ Ananda Page. Hi, CJ.
Thank you.
So good to have you with us. And rather than doing an intro, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself. So just let us know who you are, what you've created, and what it means for women.
My name is CJ. My spiritual name is Ananda, and Ananda meaning bliss in Sanskrit. And CJ actually stands for Cynthia Joy. And when I chose my spiritual name, I chose Ananda because the bliss feels like a transcended form of joy for me. My mom has always said my whole life, choose joy, and it just has been resonating with me my whole life. And so kind of stepping into a realm of bliss feels even more expansive of my being. So that's who I am. And what I do is I run a retreat center in Mexico. It's called Present Moment Retreat. And it's mostly known for yoga. It's a yoga retreat center. But when we first opened, we didn't really open it with the intention of just pure yoga. We really opened it as a healing center and a wellness center and a sanctuary. And the idea is really just to create a sense of retreat, true retreat, where people, women, children, families, men, anyone who needs to, can really find that space of solitude within in a place that holds that energy of intimacy for them. And the intention is really creating a sacred and safe place for people to come and do any kind of work that they need to do, or really just to be. And that's what we find tends to be the majority of what people need to do is just be. And so we did name it Present Moment for that reason, is being that we would want people to just simply find that presence within themselves when they're there and not necessarily have to do anything. There's plenty to do. There are classes, meditation, yoga, qigong, dancing, drumming, horseback riding, hiking, surfing, whatever people want to do. It's unlimited. But, the being is really what happens the most. I have to say, it's just, sometimes that comes in the form of walks on the beach, which are just really mindful, feeling the earth underneath your feet and just really being present with every step. Sometimes it comes from a really mindful meal, eating food that is really nourishing to your body and being present for that and really being awake and aware with every breath and every taste and every experience of that meal. Sometimes it comes in the form of a meditation or a yoga class, and sometimes it comes just by sitting by the pool or just being with the essence of who you are. And I feel like that's what we hope people experience there. And then beyond that, we hope that they take that with them. And I think that sometimes people come there, oftentimes in times of transformation and change. And so when they leave, after having maybe excavated some things or kind of worked through maybe things that they needed to let go of, the idea is then, to take that into manifesting, creating more space for more light to shine through and then taking that out to the world. So that's really our intention of Present Moment, is to awaken the human spirit and take that from that place, that sanctuary, that sanctity, and take that sanctity within you out to the rest of the world.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, do the retreat, shall we call them retreatants? Those who are coming to be on retreat, shall we call them, what shall we call them?
Sure.
Retreatants?
Sure.
Do you think most people know why they're coming?
That's a good question. I don't necessarily think that they do. I think that sometimes, even if it seems clear, it's not always the purpose behind their trip. And I think sometimes the trip is very inspired. It might be that things just kind of lined up. It could be as simple as, this is the time I had off, and so I'm going on retreat at this time. And then once they're there, they realize that they're there because there's this group of people there that they needed to meet, or there's this one person there that they needed to have this connection with. For whatever reason, the timing is absolutely and always impeccable. There's no way that we who do the reservations, nor they, can probably make this up. Like, the fact that people arrive when they arrive with the other people that are there at the same time is always magical. And so I don't know if they necessarily always know, but I think that once they arrive, it's evident that they're there because they're meant to be there, and it's really that simple. It's the people that are there because they're meant to be there exactly at that time, and and that's it. It's so simple and somehow so divinely organized. It's amazing.
Yeah. And I love what you said about how, or as you were describing the present moment coming together, I started imagining that with each passing season or each passing year of experiences that people have there, that it changes the energy of the place, that it sort of deepens or highlights what it is that people are coming for, or what it is that they find there. Is that true, or did I make that up?
No, that's really intuitive. In fact, it took me a while to recognize that this place, present moment, actually has its own energy and is its own entity, and therefore everything and everyone that comes through it brings energy to it and takes energy with them away from it. So there's this interchange that's always happening that is creating the space that exists in every moment. And it's ever changing and ever evolving. And it really, even as a one of the creators of it, it no longer has anything to do with those of us who have imagined it and created it and put it together. I mean, I'm so grateful for... I think where I left off was just basically that at this stage, it really is in its own flow. There's this fluid energy that happens that is really outside of any one individual or one person. It's a collective energy that has been held and continues to change. And I also really believe that there's a lot of energy from the land and the ancestors from this area that have helped to deepen what this place has been called to do. So it has already had purpose before it was built. And I think that purpose is unfolding in every moment. It's just this blossoming that keeps happening. And those who come there come because they are called to be there. And it's a mutually reciprocal type of energy. So it finds what it needs and people find what they need. And it just kind of manifests very naturally and organically. And with very less and less assistance on the physical realm.
I'm thinking about women in particular because we're Hestia. Obviously, we are catering to and inspired by and devoted to serving women. And I know that we have stories that we tell ourselves about what we can and can't do, about what we deserve, about merit, whatnot. So I'm wondering how that comes in when women decide to come on retreat. Do they ever tell you about the process of getting there, what it took for them to get there?
Well, every guest that walks through the door, we have an initial consultation with. And it could be just a matter of 30 minutes or so, but the idea is really to just step into where they are in their life at this very moment. And that is assessing, their life on a spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical level. And so that does come up often, because they've often come from places that are in their life that is very hectic, or they haven't given themselves the time that they've been needing or feeling, or they've been kind of distracted in their energy, or they've been, just really either overextending themselves or expending their energy in ways that doesn't serve them. I find that it's true, especially with women with families who are, or maybe they have children with special needs. There's many different issues and scenarios, but the fact is most people do come ready to be there. And whether, like we talked about, whether they know why or not is kind of secondary. It's just that they are there, and they're just there because they need to, on some level, either release, let go, renew, rejuvenate, reset, whatever brought them there. It's usually based on, just too much happening, or distribution of that energy in a way that isn't necessarily serving them or meeting their needs or nurturing their soul. And so they find their way to us, and hopefully give themselves the time and the space that they need to rejuvenate.
Yeah. And you talked a little bit about taking it away from Tonkonis and back to their lives. Mm-hmm. And I know you wrote about this on your website as well, conscious living and being in the world in a different way. Can you say a little bit more about that?
Well, I think that, as I mentioned, ideally, our intention is that, besides people having a wonderful, amazing, transformational experience, that's not just forgotten when they get home, because it's very easy to step back into your regular life and, start to fall into the same types of patterns and routines and behavioral responses that you've always done for many years. So ideally, our hope is that they've somehow, touched on something in their stay that will be a tool for them to use. And it might be their meditation practice. It might be a certain type of breath work that they've been noticing or using. It could be just a sense of mindfulness, but something that they can bring back and use as a reminder and use as a tool, so that when they see themselves starting to fall into maybe those old patterns, they can catch themselves more readily and use the tools that they have to kind of come back into that space of presence. And so I guess that's what I mean by taking it back with them from the retreat center, from present moment, into their own present moment, so that each moment can be that same state of awareness that they had when they were on retreat. And there's many ways in which people can do that, and some are as simple as, creating a sacred space in your home that might reflect the space that you experienced when you were on retreat. So it could be, creating a little altar or some kind of a space, or even bringing back with you a memento that would be a memory of your time there, whether it's a shell from the ocean, or maybe it's even a recipe, something that you ate that was really meaningful and exciting to you that will bring you back to that, or a scent, like an aroma that you experienced when you were there that you can bring back. So just anything that will bring you into that state of presence and kind of call you back to the now and to the truth of who you are. And that then allows us to be really the best that we can be out in our day-to-day lives. And whenever kind of issues come up, it's just we keep just remembering to be present, and then we forget, and then we remember again. Exactly. And it's just that process. But hopefully that, some of their stay has encouraged that awareness.
I love that, because we never stop having the moment of choice to be in the present moment or to not be in the present moment, right? So it's not only available to us in a beautiful location in Mexico on retreat, it's available at every moment. Absolutely. And I love that reminder too, that we'll never stay there. We're human. So we'll fall off and get back on, and fall off and get back on. Yes.
Yeah, I love saying, just remember to remember.
Oh, say that again.
Remember to remember.
Yes. Remember to remember. Oh, I love it.
And the thing one of my teachers often says is, pay attention to what you pay attention to. And I think that's really relevant in this too, that, as we come back into our lives, what is it that, what do we gravitate toward? Where do our minds take us? And just having awareness around that. Not that we necessarily even want to change it, but just getting to know more about who we are and our essence and our potential and that vibrant potency that we have and how we're using it. But just seeing what it is that we see and recognizing and noticing it and acknowledging it. And that just becomes that process of self-awareness and self-realization. And so paying attention to what we pay attention to is a nice thing to bring back as well.
Absolutely. How has it changed you as a woman, being the founder, living primarily there, having a life that obviously brings you back to the States from time to time?
Well, I sure am happy.
That's obvious. You're glowing.
I really do feel grateful to live the life that I live, and I feel like I get to do the work that I love. I do a lot of yoga teacher trainings, and I feel like when I first started Present Moment, I started teaching yoga on that platform. That was my first place of teaching. I taught a few classes when I was still living in Minneapolis, but my teaching really evolved on that platform there. And so for me, in that regard, I've moved from, being a fresh teacher to being a more experienced teacher to then starting to offer teacher trainings and to put together, to work with a curriculum that I feel is very powerful, and now doing teacher trainings and beyond, more advanced teacher trainings and into facilitator trainings, and that kind of stuff really, I guess, is one of the only ways in which I can mark, my evolution, at least as a yogi, that I am evolving. And because sometimes I think, what do I know? Who am I to teach? And other times I realize, there's much more that I know that I don't recognize on this physical realm oftentimes. But as I do start to find myself in a role of teaching, I find that it just comes from an innate wisdom that we all have. And so I am more available to draw upon that, and I'm more receptive to listening to it. And I think being in a place like Present Moment that is really, it holds spirit so beautifully, it allows me to connect to spirit and connect to my highest self on a much more regular basis and a very consistent basis. And I think just practice, being in a place where we are in practice and in reverence to our practice, and whatever that practice is, allows me to be not just teaching it but living it. And so that's the best part of it to me, is that I get to live my yoga, and I get to live it every day in a really beautiful environment. And I am touched by so many individuals that come through there, and I feel as though on occasion I get to touch them as well. And so it's a really amazing experience, and I feel like it's just continually evolving. And as my soul continues to awaken, I am becoming more of who I came here to be, and it's just happening really naturally. And more than anything, I'm grateful, so grateful in every moment that I get to be doing what I love. So, yeah.
That's the best news.
Yeah, it
Wow.
is.
Wow. Wonderful. CJ, thank you so much for sharing this beautiful, beautiful work that you're doing in the world here with us today. If there are women who hear an invitation here that speaks to them to go on retreat in the beautiful waters and landscape of Troncones, Mexico, how can they find you?
They can go to our website, which is presentmomentretreat.com.
Presentmomentretreat.com.
Yeah. And on there they'll find different retreats, different options. Most people do a week-long stay, and that's a really nurturing package, because it includes their massages, their adventure activities, their food. It's just a really great way to treat yourself and to just kind of step into the presence and the experience of all that the place has to offer, and all the services and the treatments. And so I do highly recommend it. I think that we all deserve it. And just, by having the conscious thought and awareness of a place like this is a reminder that we do deserve it. And starting to think about and seeing yourself there is just, it will manifest itself and make it happen. So yeah, I invite you to definitely come and join us, and I hope to see you there.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Amy. It's nice to meet you.
And you.
Thanks. I wish I could see you.